This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Duerr, brought to you by Hollister Whitney.
And this is Saturday, November the 2nd, and you have indeed entered overtime on the precise day this show was created to address, as we have an avalanche, I should say, of round one IHSA playoff action coming your way in just minutes, as well as cross-country state qualifiers from both sides of the Mississippi to talk about, but a potential state championship trumps all as we take you back down to beautiful Springfield, Missouri at the Killian Complex. Highland looking for its first state title since 2005. With the legendary Diane Tenike in the dugout getting a chance to watch a blustery day at Killian, an auspicious start in this one for Highland, and it started right here. The first time mid-buck would put the ball in play, Sophia Smith is going to pop out to foul ground. Check out the play here made by Manda Jennings. You talk about taking some pressure off right off the bat. Abby Lay would pitch magnificently from that point forward. Not one, but two strikeouts here to end the first inning. Little slow down changeup action from her there. And then, yes, she also indeed had the rise ball working in this one. And just like that, she was awesome. Again, more from Miss Lay in the second inning as well, as she would keep mid-buck scoreless and hitless through the first three, then pick it up in the bottom of the third in this one. 2 outs, Kiki Rothweiler, the first hit of the game for either team. Then she does Kiki Rothweiler type things, stealing second, and then she's gonna go and steal third again, and that puts pressure on the Lady Dragons defense, and that allows Kiki to strike. She will come home on a pair of bad throws, and just like that, it's 1-0 as the Queen of Thieves gives her team the early lead. How about this? More to come in this one. Bottom of the fourth. These are not great hits, but they are infield hits. First, Bailey Chris with the infield single, then Abby Lay with the more unconventional one yet. 2 runners aboard, 2 runners in scoring position, and man, that's when the fun is going to happen, because we're calling for the sack bunt, and Hannah Ritterbusch is going to put this down magnificently right there. She told us later she was kind of scared having to do so. Didn't show any fear there, and that sets up Kat Darnell. Mired in a slump, she slumps no more. 2 runners in scoring position. It's 4-0 at this point in favor of the Lady Cougars. What a day for Kat. It's the year of the Cat, if you will. Highland still up 4-1 here in the bottom of the fifth. A changeup gets Lay out of the frame. 3 outs away. First, a beautiful play out here by Emma Berry to take one away. Then it's Addie Abel throwing out the runner at first, and then the catch right here by Kiki Rothweiler to end it. History yet again, 15 years later. Actually, check that, 15-4, 19 years later, as Highland gets the win, 4-1, hoists that trophy and gets a chance to make their own set of history, do these Lady Cougars. Wonderful day for this wonderful program and community, and we're not done talking about this by a long shot. Coming up tomorrow, we've got a long-form post-mortem coming your way to talk all about Highland's accomplishments, some of the neat subplots that took place. You know, aside from that, like the return of Ronnie Richardson, all that good stuff coming your way tomorrow as we blow out our coverage of the Highland Lady Cougars tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And by the way, since we're talking about the Clarence Cannon Conference, we had a state champion and a state runner-up. Centralia did get upset today, but still, second place finish for that fabulous team. They give up 6 runs, I believe, in the 5th inning in this one to let the lead slip away. Still a great season for the Lady Panthers as they end up with a second place state finish in Class 3. Again, top two teams in the Clarence Cannon Conference. All right, I promised you football highlights. 7A first-round playoff game, Quincy High School taking on Argo. And yeah, this wasn't going to be fun for Argo from the start in this one. Jarius Rice Jr. right here doing what he does to open the game. Big kickoff return, and that's going to set the wheels in motion for that Blue Devil passing game. No surprise here. How about a little nice pass here to start the day off coming up from the All-Stater Braden Little. Going to hook up with Rico Clay Jr. on the first of 2 touchdown catches for him. Nifty little dotting of the eye right there as on the board just like that, 7-0. How about the defense for the Blue Devils? Strong today. It's Demarius DeVerger. It's Nathan Conrad. It's Colton Smith. Jack in there as well. Big time tackles, and then Colton Smith's going to do things all on his own with a tackle for loss from the backside right here to help things off. And that's going to set the offense back up to work. Braden Little going to work, going to scramble this time, pick up a big first down, and then he is going to go to a nifty little run from him. Going to go to the end zone and hook up with the man. Going to drop the hammer. Tykel Hammers makes it 14-0, and we're still not done yet as the Blue Devils defense comes back on the field and just continues to feast. This time, Titus Petty Max Wires. Good to see Maxwell Wires back and healthy in this one. He looks every bit of it, as that's just savage and nasty on the back end. Ben Schultz doing his thing as well, coming up with a big-time tackle for loss. And then we get a blocked punt right here by Mason Dent, and Cameron Flax-Hill is going to get the safety dance going. 2 points for the Blue Wolves at that point. How about some more defense? Carter Hildebrand going to bat a pass away right here. Quincy High School just nasty on defense today. All the way around, Eric Gower's crew doing work. How about this? The little Tykel Hammers going to work off the back end of this. Big pickup for Tykel as he works it on down into the red zone. Sets up Caden Johannesson for yet another touchdown reception in this one. Pretty pass, pretty catch by Mr. Johannesson. Ryan Cashman's turn to make the highlight reel. Little tackle for loss for the Blue Devils as well, as they're up 22-0. Make it 29-0 with the prettiest pass you may see all night and all season to Jarius Rice Jr. How about this night for Braden Little? 19 of 29 passing, 258 and 6 touchdowns as the Blue Devils win this game going away 49-7. Up next for them, a showdown with Moline. That game is already set. We get a little Friday night Western Big Six Special Part 2 coming up on Friday as the Blue Devils will take on Moline. Can't wait for that one. Good stuff there. The news not as good for our friends from Jacksonville. The Crimsons taking on high school football royalty tonight at Joliet. JCA is just too much for the Crimsons, winning 58-6. But you know what? Nobody picked the Crimsons to make the playoffs even going into this season, as young as they were. Great season for Mark Brown's crew. It just unfortunately comes to an end. How about Macomb? Can they pull off the upset? They're the higher seed, but I think a lot of people thought Murfreesboro, with all their speed, was the favored team coming in this one. Macomb trailing 21-13 late in the first half. Braden Holthouse to Drew Watson, who's going to get things untracked a little bit. It's Holthouse again. He's going to, after this big pickup by Mr. Watson, find Kyler Norton to keep the chains moving and moving them effectively. And then it's Holthouse with a touchdown pass to Kylan McMillan. It's a 3-play drive. Macomb down just 21-19 at the half in this one after McMillan adds a little punctuation to the first half. Not the prettiest pass Braden has ever thrown, but it still works right there. Pick it up back in the second half. Some disaster to start off the third quarter. The Bombers are down 35-19. Holthouse calls his own number right there, and that's a good call. He gets the long run down the sideline, and on 4th and 5, he's going to find Drake May. And Drake May, for a sophomore, has the kind of veteran nose for getting to the sticks and getting things done you don't often see. Mr. May, nice catch for him down to the 1-yard line. Sets up a 1-yard sneak, and Macomb is all of a sudden back in this game. A 2-point conversion, hook it up right here with Drew Watson, would cut it down to 35-27. Macomb is going to force a stop, and again, May is going to get the run right here to get the offense going on the back end. Then Holthouse to McMillan for a touchdown, makes it 35-3 after this beautiful run by Mr. May, but that's about as close as it would get. Macomb would lose this game down the stretch, 56-33. Great season for the Bombers, but they bow out at 7-3 on the year despite all of it. Great year there as well. And we are just getting warmed up with the football highlights. When we come back, we'll check in with all of the small schools, including a Quincy Notre Dame team that's starting to make rumblings like it looks like it might be our next state champion in the area. That when overtime continues.
This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Duerr, brought to you by Hollister Whitney.
And welcome back to Overtime. It is a 4-hour road trip from Florida to Quincy. I'm guessing it felt like an eternity going back, and it started with the Raiders on the very first kickoff in this one. How about some Ollie triplet right into your living room? Wow, that's a highlight, and I think you might see that one again on Sensational 7, and just like that, it's a 7-0 lead. Speaking of wow, Talon Scott, All-Stater, he can't surprise us anymore, right? How about 19 tackles today, 9 of them for loss? My goodness, that's a stat line as well. Aiden Bernier, he's going to bat things down. He's having none of this. Then Chaston Williams doing some work as well. Man, everybody on that D-line making their presence felt. What a chase down sack. That kid has quite a motor on him. How about some Ivan Hoon? We'll get a little running going. The big, powerful guy doing what he does. Wow, a little stiff arm at the back of that was fun. Then Wyatt Mueller time going to hook up with Gavin Dolman, the incomparable Gavin Dolman on the backside in this one. Mr. Dolman wide open, just waiting on the ball. And yeah, Gavin is going to get down to the deep part of the red zone, setting up Wyatt Mueller to call his own number in this one. And Wyatt is free to score, untouched at that point. It was that kind of day. We're not done. Possible Sensational 7 here as well. Mueller with the change of direction here, scrambles 30 yards to the house, and all of a sudden Quincy Notre Dame's lead lead, which was already 14-0, making its way to 21-0. I told you, Q&D is playing at a different level right now. The little Jack Brenner and Nolan Earhart getting into the act defensively in this one. Next possession, Flores running back. He's going to have these guys in his nightmare, and he's going to feel that tomorrow. Later, little pass action to Gavin Dolman, who's going to juke out the defender. This one from Hunter Schuckman sets things up nicely for Oliver Triplett, who would punch this in for one of his 3 touchdowns coming up on the day. You saw the one in special teams. This was Ollie just doing it inside as well. Good 1-2 running punch in this one. A little more from Earhart, Scott, and Williams in this one. The law firm was quite nasty, as I mentioned. And man, I tell you what, the stats were great. Quincy Notre Dame tunes up for whatever's next with an emphatic opening victory in this one. Even the halfback option pass wasn't going to work today, as Mr. Mueller's on the back end of that for the interception. 49-6 your final. Up next for Quincy Notre Dame, interesting bit of deja vu as Quincy Notre Dame, who got into the playoffs kind of on a technicality last year, was a 4-5 team. Well, you know, against the artist formerly known as Arthur Lovington, they were the #1 seed, who Quincy Notre Dame fell behind 14-0 and destroyed last year. Well, ALAH is going to have a chance to get some revenge. They beat North Mac on Friday, have a chance to come in here. That game already set for coming up on 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, so that should be fun as well. Not fun, and we kind of saw this coming. As great as the finish was to Illini West season, 6 straight wins, we knew they were going to run into a buzzsaw on 2A tonight, and they did. Chicago Christian is the deal. Don't buy any of that garbage you may have heard other places about weak schedule. They got athletes everywhere to Chicago Christian. They blow out Illini West 53-16. The Chargers bow out at 6-4 in the season. How about we drop down to 1A now, where our Ben Schmidt opens our playoff odyssey there with a trip to see the defending state champions.
Camp Point Central with 8 wins during the regular season. Could they add another in the playoffs against Nokomis? We start with Elijah Genenbacher. Deep pass to Nate Peters. Peters catches it on the run. There'd be plenty of that combo all game long. But that was really it for a scoreless first quarter in this playoff battle. Now in the second, the Panthers defense, they were playing tough in this game. Look at them swarm to the ball here, and that would force a punt. And that's when the Central offense got rolling. Started here with a Marco Rodriguez end around, and he takes off down the sideline. He's been doing a lot of that this season in that end around roll, and he gets a big run for the Panthers. Then moments later at Central, bringing out the passing attack. Nice pocket movement by Genenbacher, who then finds Peters. Contested grab downfield and into the end zone for the touchdown. That gave the Panthers a 6-0 lead in the second quarter. And that defense was stout all day long. Pass to the running back on this play. And Jace Wallace, well, he was having none of it. Gets the tackle for a loss. Then just a couple of plays later, look at this Panthers pass rush, and it's Caden Niekamp with the sack. Remember that name for later. As Central, they force yet another punt. I said the offense got rolling. They keep it up on this drive. Genenbacher downfield in the bucket to Peters over the shoulder. Boy, those two were good all game long on Saturday. That sets the Panthers up for a goal-to-go situation, and that's Genenbacher territory as he runs it in for his second touchdown of the quarter. Broke a couple of tackles to do it. Panthers, they lead 12-0 in this home playoff game, and now we get back to that name, Caden Niekamp. Check out the pure force on this tackle to throw him down. That's big man strength right there, and the Central defense continues to flex its muscle right after as they force the fumble. Looks like Niekamp was the one to punch it out, and Wallace is there for the recovery, and that allows defense to turn into offense thanks to Genenbacher, his second rushing touchdown in just a couple of plays. Overall, his third of the first half as Camp Point Central. That train was rolling 20-0 at that point. Continued on from there as the Panthers win this one and advance 34-6, your final score.
Up next for Camp Point Central, a showdown at home coming up on Saturday at 2 o'clock with Toledo Cumberland, who was a big-time winner. Over Tuscola, 28-6 is your final. Let's stick with the 1A theme. West Central at home against Carrollton. Remember, the first time around, the Cougars beat the Hawks by the score of 12-7. Today, the defense showed up early at least. Carson Brown is good a tackler as you will find anywhere in the Tri-States. The big fella with the tackle for loss, but Reed Schnettgeke was having none of it. Somehow hauls this in, and he's on his way down to the 1-yard line. Carson Flowers is going to take that home for the Hawks, make it 7-0. We're not done. Reed Schnettgeke again. He was a problem today for Central. In fact, the entire Hawk offense, which has come to life, and tip your cap to Rodney Flowers. What a job he has done breathing life back into this thing. We'll make the highlights short and sweet here because it was a rough day for West Central. They end up falling today, 44-8 and bowing out. Man, interesting game next week as Carrollton will try to take on the biggest dog in the pool. That would be Belleville-Altoff. They get to at least stay at home to do so, but that's going to be a real tall order. Elsewhere in Class 1A, the best news of the day, Brown County with the upset. They are advancing on. Brown County gets the win. 18-16 was your final in this one. So Brown County will advance on, and they will be back at home next week, and they will take on a very good Casey Westfield squad, which beat Route Catholic today and ended Route Catholic season. Final count in that one saw Route Catholic go down 39-21 is your final there. All right, that's the Illinois side of things. We had one in Missouri we couldn't get to last night, a few technical issues. Go back to Class 2, District 7, Clark County and Palmyra going at it. Early on, advantage Palmyra. Ryland Compton to Landon Simmons. Nifty little move. He's going to let you hear about it, but maybe that wasn't the right move because Clark County, who has been red hot of late, starts waking up, and it starts with the big fella. Corrick Hunziker going to do some really nasty stuff with his tackle. He's really quick for his size, and that's really physical right there. And speaking of Corrick Hunziker, how about you turn him around on the other side of the ball, multi-purpose use him, and let him run because he was beastly on the back end of this. This touchdown, really good stuff as well. And like I said, once Clark County kind of got the feeding frenzy going, it would not stop at this point. Jed Nelson going to show you some defensive moxie on the back end here with the nifty tackle for loss. And then some things really went awry for Palmyra after Jed Nelson gets the physicality going right here. A botched snap by the Panthers allows Austin Day to make a big tackle for loss, and that's going to set the offense up for the Indians with a very short field. Ethan Allen's team showing new signs of life this season. You got to like that. Chase Webster going to do some nifty things at the back end of this. First, the quarterback keeper right here to extend the lead, and then one of the niftiest batted interceptions we've seen all year as Clark County is going to close the deal in this one on a 26-22 victory by virtue of this defensive gem and all that took place. Clark County advances on. They will go to Monroe City and play in the district semifinals next week. That's a heck of an interception right there as well. Elsewhere, let's talk some cross country today. We'll keep it in Missouri to start with. We're going to start in Class 2, District 3 down in Fulton. South Shelby, your team champ today. Mason McDaniel from Clark County, a second-place finish overall as he tries to tune up for a run at Gans next week for a state championship. Also today, let's go down to Class 1. Paris doing great work on the boys' side, taking second place, and Landon Chapman ends up as your district medalist. How about the showing by the Marion County boys? Levi Wright and Porter Britt both in the top 12. Also need to shout out Knox County's Grayson Miller, who finished 13th there. Let's move on to Class 4, District 3, boys and girls. We're talking about Hannibal. Two top 13 finishes there. David Munger and Jordan Pewterball on the girls' side as well. Top 12 finishes over today down in the St. Louis area. Let's move on now. There you see Miss Pewterball's numbers as she finishes 12th. To the girls' side overall, we'll start off in Class 1, District 3 on that side of things. Paris is your team champ, and Marin Kinnaman leads the brigade of really good runners. She ends up with a third-place finish in 21:44. Also on the day in Class 2, pretty good showing at the top today by Monroe City to the surprise of nobody. As they finished third overall on the team side, and individually good stuff by a number of local runners, including a name you don't see there, Audrey Reed of Palmyra, who finishes 19th. Again, Brady Keller leading the local brigade with a 7th place finish there as well. And we shall have more overtime for you. Well, I got to talk Illinois first real quickly. Some state qualifiers as well. Millie Schumacher from Route is headed off to state in the 1A level after an 8th place finish at the loaded Elmwood sectional. And Quincy High School is sending off a pair of girls runners to state. No surprise there in Peyton Cool and Amick McClelland. McClelland with a 30th place finish as we advance the graphic. Peyton Cool finishes 4th. We'll have more overtime coming up after this.
This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Duerr, brought to you by Hollister Whitney.
Happy birthday, Jason Kilday. Home finale for the Quincy University Hawks. A successful one thanks to Tion Dollard, who was an absolute monster running the football today, breaking multiple tackles right here. And Tion would not go down. Defense helped as well today. Down early, but Joseph Webb down 3-0, showing off the moxie behind the line of scrimmage with the TFL. It was all the Tion Dollard show today as he was just absolutely ridiculous. In the second quarter, breaking his team on top after a couple of big runs right here. The Hawks go on to win it on Dr. Kilday's birthday. 24-20 was your final. Elsewhere today, Western Illinois falls in Charleston in a thrilling game, 45-38. It was Illinois College winning on the road big at Grinnell today, and Culver Stockton dropped one on the road in football at Peru State, 52-21. Men's college basketball today, Culver Stockton opens the season with a win at the College of the Ozarks. The score you don't see there. John Wood falls to 0-2 on the season with a loss to the big-time power that is DMAC. And in women's college basketball today, how about another big win, or a big win, I should say, for Culver Stockton's women over HLG today as they get the win 66-36. We'll have more overtime straight ahead.
This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Duerr, brought to you by Hollister Whitney.
A quick congratulations and thank you to the great communities and great softball teams of both Paris and Highland for the wonderful ride this weekend. Again, tomorrow night, our Monster Highland wrap-up. That means on Monday, we'll do our Q&D Fake State Tournament story that we've got brewing for you. That'll be Monday coming up at 10. And then all kinds of playoff action next week with volleyball, soccer, and right back here next Saturday for a Monster Overtime. I will see you then, everybody.